Iran has released footage of missiles, drones, kept underground where he have it. He has released the footage to show to America and Israel that they are not joking. Now I know why all these Gulf nations, all these Middle East, all of the whole countries are afraid of Iran. What Iran has, they don't have it. That's no wonder. Even Saudi Arabia that came out yesterday to bragado say, yes, I'm going to deal with Iran. They come and attack my country. He come back again today say, no, you don't talk like that. Hey, no, I know why. Una see what Iran gets. And this thing is under the tunnel. They have it surplus, billions, a lot. Different type of ammunition, different type of drones. Just see where the arranger drone puts. Just see where the arranger. Just when they see where the arranger, they just arrange. They are so foolish, to even show it. Now they have showed America what they have, and also Israel has known what they have. Now the CIA need to go into action to detect the underground, the exact place where they have all these drones, ammunition, ballistic missiles that can even reach any part of the Gulf nation. According to the news, it can reach any part of the Gulf nation. They have it, a lot of it. They are warning America and Israel that look, this is what we have. We have more self. We have more underground. We have more underground where we kept all our ballistic missiles, all our air drone and all. We have it. Be careful and back off this war. Hey! No wonder they have enough to supply to Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas, Al-Qaeda, ISIS. They have it. America was not wrong when they said that they are producing missiles that is capable to reach America. And those are the where they have their uranium and all the big airplane. That is where America has been. But they have never seen this one. Oh. Iran just released this one now. No wonder. No wonder they call themselves the Islamic Republic of Iran. They are the ones supplying all the terrorists in the whole wide world. Ammunition. Even Hamas. 7th of October, they confessed all the ammunition they had. In fact, it was not even confession. It was written on it. All was produced in Iran. The one Hezbollah is using, the one Houthis is using, the one ISIS is using, all of them is produced in Iran. Before we continue, let's listen to this news and let's see why Iran feel they are more powerful than any other country in the Middle East. Let's listen to it.
We begin with the latest. Iran, retaliating against the joint US-Israel airstrike, has publicly revealed the appearance of an underground tunnel where drones and missiles are stored. Iranian state media has released footage purporting to show scores of attacked drones stockpiled in an underground bunker. The video shows a long tunnel with no visible end, lined with numerous drones and missiles. It first displays triangular-shaped drones lined up in one direction, resembling the Shahed 136, a domestically developed Iranian kamikaze drone. The ceiling of this tunnel is adorned with the Iranian national flag. The footage also captures missiles in standby mode, with 4 missiles mounted per launcher vehicle. A photo of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, was confirmed dead following the previous day's airstrike, is seen hanging on the wall. The video further includes scenes of drones and missiles being launched. Drones are a core component of Iran's attack capabilities following the joint US-Israel airstrike on the 28th of last month. Iran conducted retaliatory strikes using ballistic missiles and drones against targets in Israel, Bahrain, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Kuwait.
Let's listen to this one.
The war is expanding because Iran is firing in all directions, not just at American and Israeli assets, but also at its Gulf Arab neighbors. So far, Iran has fired at least 390 missiles and 830 drones across the Persian Gulf. That's more than 1,200 missiles and drones fired. 6 countries in the region have been targeted. They intercepted more than 1,000 missiles and drones, but the air defenses are not foolproof. So oil facilities were struck, military bases were hit, and even cities like Dubai have not been spared. For Iran, the idea is to show that if they are under attack, nobody in the region is safe. Here's a report.
No, that can't see missiles where Iran gets.
They are falling in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Manama in Bahrain, a military base in Iraq, as well as an Aramco facility in Saudi Arabia. These strikes are a demonstration of Tehran's power in an expanding West Asian conflict. Iran does not rely on air power. It relies on missiles, thousands of them. Iran has both ballistic and cruise missiles, as well as drones designed to overwhelm an enemy's defenses.
Do you hear that?
Experts say Iran has the largest and most varied missile arsenal in West Asia. Tehran holds more than 3,000 ballistic missiles. This is according to an assessment by the U.S. Central Command in 2022. Reports say 2,000 of these missiles can reach other countries across West Asia. That gives Iran reach, even without a modern air force.
No wonder.
Iranian officials call this the backbone of deterrence. Short-range ballistic missiles form the first layer. They typically travel between 150 and 800 kilometers. Systems include the Fateh variants, Zulfiqar, Qayyam-1, and older Shahab-1 and Shahab-2 missiles. These missiles are built for rapid regional strikes. They can be launched in volleys. That compresses warning time. Iran demonstrated this in January 2020. After the killing of Qasem Soleimani, Tehran fired ballistic missiles at Iraq's Ain al-Assad airbase. The attack damaged infrastructure. More than 100 United States personnel suffered traumatic brain injuries.
Do you hear that?
The second layer is medium-range ballistic missiles. They typically travel between 1,500 and 2,000 kilometers. Systems include Shahab-3, Imad, and Ghadar-1. Missiles like the Khorramshahr variants and Sedgil can travel even further. Sedgil stands out. It uses solid fuel. That allows faster launch readiness compared to liquid fuel systems. Taken together, these missiles widen Iran's target list. Israel falls within range. So do United States-linked facilities in Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. The geography of retaliation expands. Ballistic missiles are only part of the playbook. Iran fields land attack and anti-ship cruise missiles. Systems include Sumar, Ya Ali, Quds variants, Hoveze, Pave, and Ra'ad. The Sumar can travel up to 2,500 kilometers. Cruise missiles fly low. They hug terrain. They are harder to detect. Then come the drones. One-way attack drones are cheaper. They can be launched in waves. The strategy is saturation. Overload air defenses. Keep airports, ports, and energy sites on alert for hours, not minutes. Numbers alone do not define power. Survivability does. Iran has hardened parts of its missile program in underground storage tunnels and concealed bases. These networks make it harder to eliminate launch capability in a first wave. For adversaries, that complicates calculations. So a strike may not end the exchange. It could prolong it. And Tehran certainly has the firepower to sustain a long fight.
I told you people that Iran has something that we don't know. You remember what I said this? I said, is there something Iran has that we don't know? No wonder. No wonder the whole Gulf nation wants Khamenei down. They don't like him. They are not talking about the Iranian people, but Khamenei, they don't like Khamenei. Saudi Arabia don't like Khamenei. Ayatollah. Kuwait, they don't like Khamenei. Even that Cyprus, so they go shoot. They don't like Khamenei. Even Saudi Arabia, they don't like Khamenei. The people who like Khamenei now, this Iraq, Pakistan, what do you call it? What do you call these people? Afghanistan. Even Qatar, where be Demon himself, he don't like Khamenei. You see, they know that Khamenei is very, very powerful. He has all these things. He can threaten them. That's why they don't like him. That's why they betrayed him. Oh. They betrayed him. That is why His people are fighting them. They betray. They know now. They are not stupid that they're supposed to know. If me, I know say they betray. They know say they betray their oga. They betray now. Oh, Ayatollah, rest in peace. Next time, you will know that your own people self, they don't even love you. Just see the way they betrayed you to America. Upon all this, your power, they were wanting a way to bring you down, and they succeeded by joining America, telling America, strike. Don't worry, don't use our airbase, that we will not be involved. But if you want to strike, you can strike. But now they are not threatening Iran that they are going to strike Iran. Iran is lonely, solito, nobody. They support him. You don't fight all the people who for sake, they still support him. You don't fight all of this. So everybody are now against them. They are not alone. They are fighting alone. Only their pros is Hezbollah, Houthis, and mass of these people. Now they try to lie. Israel don't finish those ones for Lebanon. It is where I will be back.
Donald Trump don't drag UK enter inside this their conflict where they get between Israel and Iran. In fact, right now, Donald Trump, US, don't go meet United Kingdom. Don't tell they say they need their permission to make use of their military base to send strike enter inside Iran. Now, UK on the other hand don't agree, but they thought say they don't wash hand come on for the war, so they don't get anything for that particular war. But unfortunately, they're not going to refuse the request of US because US are their ally.
The United States has requested permission to use British bases for that specific and limited defensive purpose.
So the Prime Minister of UK don't come outside to talk, say their hand no deal, they just they give US their air base for them to carry out that particular strike against Iran. Because for this basketballs to stop, they must comot the source of the nuclear activity or the nuclear power where we say they for Iran. Now Donald Trump does still come outside to talk, say right now, he says some people don't buy for inside this Iran and some people don't stick by for their own side. In fact, it has been recorded that over 3 persons and some other persons, both military and non-military from the US side, don't buy for inside this particular matter. And as such, he say he go know if he promise Americans, say some other persons no go stick by. He say more persons go buy, but he go make sure say their objective is achieved. Right now, he don't talk say may every soldier, every police person, every person where they represent Iran, they fight this particular battle, may they drop their arms. And if they don't, he said they go give them clemency. In fact, they go give them immunity to ensure that they put a stop to what is happening right now. He said, but if they not drop their arms, say all of them go collect woto. He said right now the country is being packaged or being run by a makeshift government. Say because most of those people were there around the supreme leader where we say don't buy. He said most of them buy too. Most of the top military generals don't also buy. So right now a very small group of people in government now they carry out this Iran strike to other parts of the world, including the allied countries of America. So America don't say clear message. Donald Trump say if they come right now, come sit down for table, say may they talk, may they negotiate. He is ready to listen. But if they are not willing to put out their hands, wahala go dey.
Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives.
Breaking news, Russia warship has just landed Iran. The other day it was China. Now it is Russia. The 2 countries, Russia and China, are joining hands together with Iran to fight with America. And according to the news, they say wherever their ship is being located, is being positioned, no American fighter jet or American missiles will ever come there. Because why? If not, it is going to be a war between Russia or China and America. This is a strategy of Iran to protect its territory. That is why he invited Russia and China to join him to fight this war. Before we continue, let's listen to the breaking news. Let's listen to it.
All right, so let's start with some breaking news that is just coming, where Russia has now sent a massive warship to Iran. The Russian and the Iranians are set to embark upon some naval drills. The naval exercises are taking place in the Gulf of Oman. Now, this, remember, is the same area of the high seas where the Americans have stationed their naval armada. And these are the images of the Russian corvette Stoiky arriving at the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas. Now, this Russian ship is designed for multi-role operations, including anti-surface, anti-air, and anti-submarine warfare. The exercises will see the warships of both nations maneuver alongside one another as the American naval forces, including the powerful American Carrier Strike Group, maintains its presence nearby. Now, Tehran has said that a helicopter carrier belonging to the Navy of the Russian Federation has entered into Iran's southern waters. Now, the backdrop, remember, is unmistakable. The Americans, in order to impose more pressure on the Iranians in these negotiations, have surged their naval defense presence in the wider region. And Donald Trump has deployed major naval assets, including the carrier strike groups, to press Iran during these indirect nuclear talks. The proximity of the Russian and the Iranian drills to an American carrier group is sending ripples through global strategic circles, and analysts see it as more than just routine training. This is a clear signal of cooperation at sea, a message to a world that is watching the balance of power shift in West Asia and beyond. Now, the atmosphere in the region has shifted from tension to a hair-trigger alert by embedding Russian assets into the Iranian defense perimeter. Moscow is also creating a strategic shield of sorts. It complicates any potential American strike plan, forcing the American commanders to consider the catastrophic risk of hitting a Russian hull. Remember, Moscow has repeatedly released statements urging Washington to engage in dialogue and not to stage any attacks on Iran. So this, of course, is a...
See what Russia is doing now.
Images on your screen. We see that Russia and China have deployed their naval elements to the region. We're saying that a real fire current control exercise has begun. We look at the United States. It has increased its presence in the region. While the negotiation process continues, it is prioritizing its military presence. And while we're discussing all this, a Russian ship has anchored off the Iranian coast. Those images are currently on your screens. Please take a look.
Now, of course, the anchoring of this ship means that the United States cannot strike this base. If they wanted to strike, it would mean they would hesitate, because you're not striking Iran here. The moment you strike this base, you also take on Russia. Or the moment you try to strike the place where Chinese ships are located, there is a possibility that you will take on China because of the possibility of harming them. Then perhaps America won't agree to that. So Iran has developed a very important policy here. It has taken a very important step by bringing the navies of these two countries into the Strait of Hormuz and anchoring them in their own naval bases. They are essentially trying to create a protective shield against American attacks, because that's in the nature of it. Let's say the U.S. administration, Trump, wants to confront China and Russia so they can take a stand. If they don't want to, then Iran will get what it wants. These naval forces are here to create a deterrent effect. This is an important step taken by Iran. How it will be reflected at the negotiating table or on the ground remains to be seen, but it's possible to say this clearly, in my opinion, that Iran and America want to reach an agreement on minimum issues at the negotiating table. They are looking for a way out, which they call an honorable way out. How this will happen, we have to wait and see, but perhaps it's possible within the framework of the fundamental issue I mentioned earlier, under the guise of a win-win approach, isn't it? But there's also this. The U.S. has deployed 33% of its Navy to the region. It has spent so much money. If it doesn't achieve anything in return, neither financially nor politically, then Trump's situation in domestic politics will become more difficult. Now, considering all possibilities, Trump might attack Iran. If he attacks Iran, let's say he doesn't hit the ports, but attacks Iranian territory, then if Iranian missiles hit one of the U.S. ships, the negative consequences will fall on Trump. Because the United States hasn't suffered a single hit on a U.S. ship in its military interventions in world politics for a long time. I think the negative consequences in this situation will also fall on Trump.
Fall on Trump? Mr. Yeshilkush, what do you say? Now, images of the Russian ship being welcomed in Iran are also appearing on screens. Well, that's an important step. How will this affect the negotiating table in the field?
Of course, a potential failure in Iran today would mean Trump's biggest defeat in the midterm elections.
Now, the Iranian regime is very different, Ms. Borsak. It's not Venezuela, it's not Afghanistan, it's not Iraq. Yes, you got Saddam Hussein there, Iraq ended, but it's not like that here. First of all, it's very difficult to dismantle the ideology here. Therefore, as you may have noticed, Trump, after his meeting with Netanyahu, is still saying that he wants the negotiations to continue because he is also aware of the negative consequences that would come to him with a potential failure. Now, it's not just from a security perspective. Of course, there is also a strategy on the U.S. side. If the oil shipment to China through the Strait of Freedom is interrupted, the goal is to put pressure on Iran, both economically and in terms of security. But in the end, of course, we hope that both sides will leave the table with an agreement where they find common ground through negotiations.
That's our hope. Of course, we are following.
Do you see what is happening? Iran is using strategy to invite Russia and China to occupy some part of the sea. You understand? So that if America is striking, they cannot strike that very part. Because if they strike that very part, meaning they are fighting with either Russia, or if they strike the other part, they are fighting with China. America has their strategy. It will shock all of them. What will happen for this war? Because Iran is really ready. I can see that Iran is not ready to back down. And they are not ready to negotiate with America. But what is going to be before them, we shall see.